Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Waiting Room, the show that challenges you to thrive and not just survive in every area of your life. I'm your host, Ruchikanya, and today I'll be talking about the relationship you have with yourself. In the last couple of episodes, I talked about why having a relationship with God and people matters. So now I'm going to talk about the importance of having a healthy relationship with ourselves. So how we view ourselves or how we treat ourselves is very important, you guys. You are the only person you will ever live with your entire life. When you get to the point in your life when you know who you are and who you're not, and you're comfortable with that, it's a very liberating place to be. We live in a world where a lot of people, they're having identity crises. They are trying to be people they don't even know. They are bound up in insecurities, and they're always looking for affirmation and approval from other people because they are not confident in who they are as a person, as an individual. And like I mentioned in previous episodes, your relationship with God does affect how you view yourself, because your identity comes from Christ. If you have a relationship with God, your identity comes from Christ, and that brings a different kind of confidence and assurance. Whereas if you are not a Christian, say, for those that are not necessarily Christians, a lot of times we can be lost. And I know I was lost before I got saved. I was just kind of floating through life, didn't have much purpose. I was just, going to school, going through the motions of life, but I didn't know who I was, and I didn't know how to stand up for myself boldly like I do now. So you as a person, or us as individuals, are made up of three parts. We have our mind, our body, and spirit. And it's important that we're healthy in all three areas to be a healthy individual. So starting with the mind, so this is where you have your thoughts, your intellect, all your mental capacities are there. Having a healthy mind is so important. And a lot of times what we let into our mind significantly affects the decisions we make and, the thoughts we have and so forth. I'm sure you've heard before that the eyes and the ears are gateway to the soul. So what we watch, what we listen to, what we read is going to affect our thinking and our processing, and our decision-making skills are influenced by the things that we allow into our mind. So it's important that we let healthy things into our lives. We're not reading or watching things that basically drain us. Also, we need to have healthy thoughts about ourselves and thoughts about our lives and the people around us, because out of those thoughts come words. And there's so much negativity around us constantly. Like if you are constantly reading the news, or if you are ingesting most of mainstream media, there's so much negativity, and that can pollute our minds. So it's important that we make an effort to have healthy thoughts, change our internal dialogue, what we think about ourselves, what we think about our circumstances, our people. The Bible says that we need to think about whatever is true, right, pure, noble, excellent, praiseworthy. And those are the kind of thoughts we need to have. Now, it's easier said than done. I, like most people, have struggled. My mind can wander and can go some really dark places. And, over the years, I have gotten, or God has helped me with that, and He can help you too. But we have to recognize, like, oh, I have this problem. I shouldn't be thinking those things, or I shouldn't let my mind go there. And then at that point, it's like, okay, now that you're aware of it, you're more apt to actually do something about it. And like I said, like, the blood of Jesus is wonderful. Like, it can help you heal your mind And there's so much more that we can talk about the mind, and we can dive into that in detail another time. A healthy mind is very important. And then we have the body. So this is your actual physical body. Oh gosh. So healthy body. I know it's a touchy subject for a lot of people, but our physical health cannot or should not be neglected, because that is also going to affect other areas of our lives. So God designed our bodies for movement. We were designed to do things, to run, walk, push, pull, lift, etc. So when we don't move our bodies and we go against God's design, that's when we have problems. Obesity, atrophy, and so many other things. High blood pressure, high cholesterol. Our physical health does affect our mental health as well. So a lot of times if you're healthy physically, you tend to have better mental health, and vice versa. So having a healthy body is just as important, and we need to take care of our bodies. We need to eat well, exercise, get some sleep, and just treat our bodies well. And this is something I can relate to on a personal level. For those of you who know me and have known me for a while, probably about 9 years ago, so 2012, I started my weight loss journey. So before that, I was overweight. I probably was close to obese. I didn't weigh myself. I avoided the scale at all costs, but I know I was for sure overweight. The time when I started weighing myself, I was overweight. So for a while, you just kind of go through life, and I didn't like my body and how I looked and felt, but I wasn't really motivated to do anything about it. But then one January, something just clicked, and it just sort of made sense. I came across a few articles sort of breaking down nutrition requirements and calories and what you need, and learning to read labels and all of that. So I realized, I haven't been doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So I started this journey eating well. I learned how to eat well and how to exercise, and I have been on this journey for almost 9 years and counting. And that was such a significant part of my life, because a lot of things changed in my life when I made that decision to improve my physical health. I know for a fact, like, my mental and my spiritual health also improved along with that. I am going to talk a lot more about fitness and health in future episodes and stuff, because I know it's a touchy subject for a lot of people. A lot of people have avoidance issues. They don't like to talk about it, but they have to deal with it every day. You have to look at yourself in the mirror every day, and you have to sort of come to terms with what you see, whether you like it or not. And you can change it. Like, when it comes to physical health, it's not easy. So everything is hard. Being overweight is hard. Being fit is hard. Having to take medications every day for blood pressure, cholesterol is hard. But then also going out for a walk and eating healthy, making healthy decisions. So whatever you do in life, you can't make decisions in life based on how hard it is. You want to make decisions based on the results, what outcome you want out of life. So physical health, taking care of your body, is very important. And then the last part is your spirit. So this is the seat of your emotions, your character, or this is also known as your soul. This is significantly affected, once again, going back to your relationship. If you have a relationship with your creator, or if you don't, this is going to affect your spirit, and it's also going to affect your mental health and your physical health as well. So a lot of the things that we deal with emotionally and spiritually affect our health. So for me personally, a lot of the things that I was dealing with spiritually, especially like the vices, the guilt and shame and anger and self-pity, jealousy, self-hatred, bitterness, all of those, I didn't know how to deal with them, or I didn't know how to get rid of those things until I became a born again Christian. And honestly, just from what I have seen and what I have experienced, that's really the only answer, is Jesus, because we are all going to go through things in life. Things are going to happen to us. We need to process that. We need to sort of live with that and kind of move on from that. And if you haven't surrendered it to God, or if you are trying to figure it out on your own, it's gonna be quite challenging. And I wouldn't be here if I hadn't surrendered or allowed Jesus to take those things and heal me and make me whole and make me new. Our mind, body, and spirit, all of this, it's all connected. If you want to be a well-balanced individual, all three areas have to be in check. You cannot separate them. You cannot separate your mind from your body, from your spirit. One area affects the other. And with those three are going to affect who we are as a person, the decisions we make. Because like I said, you're going to have to live with yourself your entire life. And we can be shallow with people, but we can also be shallow with ourselves and not deal with the deeper things. And that it's not helpful to yourself, to your personal growth, and even to those around you. Because, if you look around, some of the most influential people that I know are balanced in all three areas. Their mind, their body, their spirit are all healthy, so to speak. I would love to hear your thoughts on this topic, on personal health or your intrapersonal relationship with yourself. Email thewaitingroom@gmail.com. Or if you have any questions, don't hesitate to shoot me an email. But I know I touched on a few areas, and some are very personal and some are very touchy. So something that I've learned to do is to just examine my life. And if I find myself bothered by a specific subject or a specific topic, I ask myself, why am I bothered? How does this relate to me, and what am I going to do about it? So, whether it was your mind, if it's something that you need to work on, what you're allowing into your mind, what you're reading, what you're listening to, what you're watching, or if it's your body, maybe you're neglecting your health, or if it's your spirit and you're all kinked up in your soul. And if any of those areas bother you, or just talking about it is unsettling, ask yourself why, and then do something about it. So it's not like you have to stay in that state forever. There is hope, there's answers, and reach out to a friend or talk to somebody, get help, and healthy, get stronger in those weak areas. But like I said, I want to hear what you have to say. I'd love to hear your feedback regarding this topic. All right. And for the book recommendation this week, I have Piercing the Darkness by Frank Peretti. So last episode, I recommended This Present Darkness. Piercing the Darkness is a sequel to This Present Darkness. So both books are great. I definitely recommend you read This Present Darkness first and then Piercing the Darkness, because of context, it'll make more sense. But if you haven't read either one of those books, I highly encourage you to do so. So for this week, I challenge you to identify which of these three areas in your life that you could improve. There's always room for improvement somewhere. So just pick one and just say, you know what? I know I could do better on my mental health, or I could do better on my physical health or my spiritual health, and apply yourself and actually put effort in strengthening that area. And that is all I have for this episode. I would like to thank you for joining me here in the waiting room. Look out for our next episode. I'm going to talk about healthy relationships, characteristics of healthy relationships. So in the meantime, share this podcast with a friend. I would love to hear your feedback, or if you have any questions, please email thewaitingroom@gmail.com. Until then, take care.